critical area. To look at the issue of women's reproductive rights and justice with me, I'm expecting two guests to join me, but one of them is already comfortably seated. I hope you're comfortable.
Very comfortable.
All right, in the studio with us for this conversation. And just so you know, this program is brought to you by Education as Vaccine. All right, I have Effa Ikoy.
You're getting it.
Oh, Itam with me in the studio. She's a medical student of the University of Abuja, 400 level. She's a trained sexual reproductive health advocate and also part of the medical student SRHR Champion Network in Nigeria. Effa has participated in various sensitization movements and also attended several of this workshop held in the University of Abuja in collaboration with MAS Champion Nigeria. She's currently the personal assistant, special duties, to the National SCORA Director of NISA. What is SCORA, Effa? Help us with that.
Okay. SCORA basically is a standing committee on sexual and reproductive health and rights, including HIV and AIDS. It's actually a standing committee for Nigerian medical students. Yeah. So.
All right then. Okay. And while we're talking with Effa, our other guest joins us in the studio also. We have Amina Bint Mohammed, a dedicated advocate for women and girls' rights, a dynamic entrepreneur, a poet, a writer, with a progressive career spanning over 5 years in the field of development. And throughout her journey, Amina has steadfastly championed the cause of women's rights, actively combating gender-based violence, challenging stereotypes that hinders the progress of women and girls. And her notable achievement include her significant contribution to the passage of the VAP Act and the Child Rights Act in Sokoto State. Thank you for the good work for that, because we need to commend the warriors who put that together. You're welcome.
Thank you for having me. It's evening, yeah?
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's afternoon.
Okay, let's not get to that.
Exactly. So you're both welcome as we look at reproductive rights of rights and justice of women. And I think this area, it's a bit, it's dicey sometimes when you're talking about reproductive rights, because it feels like everybody's entitled to a woman's rights and encroaching that woman's space and woman's body, like, oh, how dare you just want to think it's my body, I have a right to make certain call, right? Society will come in, religion will come in, men will come in, everybody has a say, and
except the woman, everybody has to say.
It drowns the voice of the woman at the end of the day. So let's end up looking at when confronted with cultural or societal barriers that particularly impact women's anatomy over their bodies. I mean, or autonomy, I beg your pardon, over their bodies. How do you approach these challenges in your advocacy work? Let's start with you, Amina.
All right, thank you very much once again for having me. It's been a lovely afternoon, evening, whichever you are. So I usually say that when it comes to advocacy, it's one thing to be very passionate about what you do, to be convinced that we are doing the right thing. Of course, we're doing the right thing, right? But you should always also note that we won't have any need to come together to form a cluster of young people or older people trying to put one or two things to bed if the need does not arise. And the only reason why we have a need for it is simply because society has been tailored in a certain way, and it is hell-bent on staying like that. What I'm trying to get with this is the fact that before you go into any form of advocacy, you need to first know the environment you're going into. It's key. Don't be so convinced that, yes, I'm on the right track. They have to come and see this with me. Don't be so hell-bent like society yourself. Understand the community you are going into, then adopt what. Every community has their peculiarities. Trust me, no matter how beautiful some of our plans are on paper, we cannot apply it to all communities. We need to, that's why research is important. So first and foremost, when you're approaching things like this, especially for a society like ours that is unfortunately rooted in a lot of culture, a lot of religion, a lot of patriarchy, that stems back time immemorial, it's always important that you first understand the community you're going into. Research about them. How would their receptivity be before you step into that community? And then it's always important, like I always say, to go through gatekeepers. Now, gatekeepers are elders in communities, people who really just generally have a say in these communities. It's always important that you go through them, because this, by the time you go with one of them, it's like, for example, if I want to go into a village now, and probably the villagers are hostile, they don't do well with people from outside,
Yeah.
and then I go with probably their village chief, and they see the village chief welcome me, gives me a place in his palace, and like, and I'm just so whenever the village chief calls them, they are more likely to listen to whatever it is I have to say. So as much as we try to do this advocacy thing, it is always important to apply wisdom. I know in 2019, a young lady went to one of these local governments to go and advocate against female genital mutilation. And when she got there, she didn't go there feeling, oh my God, I am on the right track. Miss Too good, two shoes. And when she went, she was very calm, respectful. She talked to them like before she even tabled what brought her, she had to acknowledge their environment. She was so diplomatic about it. And by the time she had tabled whatever she wanted to say, the first thing the older woman told her was that you are very lucky you delivered this message as a white person. If not, that chair you are sitting on, you wouldn't have stood up.
Wow.
Straight up.
Oh boy.
Straight up, they were not joking. So it shows that in advocacy, because of the kind
You
of
need to
society-
employ tact.
Yes, tact is very, very important. But oftentimes, especially young advocates who are new to it, they feel like, no,
Too much energy.
how can you not see that this is wrong? We need to. Yeah, and another thing again, we are always going to go for the government, because whatever happens, we need the backing of the government. So we always try to make sure that whether be it at the local government level, at the state government level, whatever level that we can bring the government into it, we always try to make sure that we bring the government into it, lobby for change in some policies that is going to, like for example, the VAP Act now. Since 2003, we have been on the same thing.
Yeah.
But, I'm sorry, 2015, the CIA was since 2003, we have been on the same thing. But eventually, we got it done. Even though I think there are about 2 states that still have not domesticated. But hey, it's been a long time coming, but finally we got it done. So yeah, these are some of the very important things that you need to consider, especially because we are a very cultural people. And I love to say, culture is actually peer pressure from dead people. But I mean, we have lovely cultures. Let's be honest. We have.
But then it's
amazing-
also dynamic. This is something that with time you also evolve.
Exactly. It's not supposed to be stagnant. Somebody said, culture was made for man, man was not made for culture. Boy, look at man, hell bent on it's our culture, it's our tradition. Please. Some things you have to let go.
Indeed. So yeah, employ tact, read the room, understand the environment
Yeah,
you're going
research.
to, work with traditional
Yes,
leaders,
yeah.
gatekeepers, some of the effective strategies
Yes,
that you've
yes.
employed also. Let's look at EFA here. Now, as a future healthcare provider, how do you envision enhancing support for women in making informed decisions really about their reproductive health?
Okay, thank you very much again for having me. Good afternoon, everyone. So, as a future healthcare provider, like we said, making informed decisions. First of all, we have to make sure that they are informed. We have to sensitize the women. So, how I plan to go about this? We can try first of all by collaborating with healthcare professionals such as counselors, because there are some issues that I myself or someone that isn't trained properly to address cannot address. These are sensitive issues. We have to make sure that the counselors are non-judgmental counselors, so that it creates a safe space for these women to open up and tell us exactly what their issues are and how we can go about addressing these issues. We can also create a safe space by sensitizing these women, because it has come time and time again that unwanted pregnancies, which is a very big problem, also leading to women seeking very unsafe abortion care services. All these things are stemming from lack of sensitization. Let me see. They are not sensitized properly about contraceptive methods, about family planning. So all these things come into having good counselors, into collaborating with the right professionals. I mean, nowadays there are a lot of contraceptive services that these women, and when I mean women, I don't necessarily mean the older women. We have
Young
students
girls.
too, young girls too. We have youth in the universities too that we need to sensitize about the various contraceptives, because there are different types of contraceptives. There is the orals, there are the IUD, the subdermals, exactly, and they all have their advantages and disadvantages. Each one, I can come and say I prefer oral, and another person can come and say the person wants the IUD. So all these things bear down to counseling. If there are proper counseling services, we'll find out that a lot of issues will actually be addressed earlier on, and we don't have to enter the more difficult situations.
But are we also open to, giving the counseling to unmarried young girls? Because I know that becomes a slippery slope when you bring this kind of girl, she's not married, what do you need it for?
That was then. We need to counsel anyone we see. These are our sisters. Anything can happen.
Sure.
Unfortunately, there are even situations of rape. So anything can happen. We can counsel anyone. That is why we're trying to now tell people that you need to know your rights, you need to know your sexual and reproductive health rights.
It's quite important. But do you have like a strategy you suggest for medical students to really advocate properly in terms of the policies for healthcare upholding women's rights?
Yes, definitely. First of all, medical students, we already have a high social say. We have a high say in the country generally. So it is easier. There are a lot of student-led organizations actually that support sexual and reproductive rights, like SCORA now that I just introduced, Standing Committee on Sexual and Reproductive Health and Rights, including HIV and AIDS. So this SCORA is already collaborating with various organizations that help to support students that are interested in SRHR. So in this sense, these organizations, we go on outreaches, we already organize sensitization programs, and students that are already interested are they are encouraged to participate in seminars, workshops, encouraged to listen to radio talks like this too, because without knowledge you can't teach people. So we were encouraged to enlighten ourselves first. And SCORA, it's SCORA in Nigeria, there's also SCORA internationally. So like the SCORA is under an international organization, that's International Federal Medical Students. And from time to time, applications come out for students that are interested in advocacy and policy documents, people that want to go into research. So from time to time, there are applications open for that. So if you are actually interested in it, if you want to make a change, you definitely have the opportunity as a medical student. And there is social media too. I mean, nowadays there are a lot of creatives there. We're not just book. There are actors there, there are graphic designers, there are web designers. So there are a lot of things we can basically do. We can put out infographics, there are short films we can do. Spread the word basically. It's actually a very, very big opportunity for anyone that is interested, honestly.
All right, that's good to know. I want to put out a question quickly to our listener. And Messi from Maraba says, nice topic you guys are having, good to know. But Messi, I want your opinion. What are your thoughts on choice when we say safe abortion services and care? And the question is not just to Messi, I'm directing it to you also listening to 95.1 Nigeria Info as we hold this conversation on her informed choices, talking about women's reproductive rights and justice. The question is, what are your take on choice when we say safe abortion services and care? What comes to mind? You can join our conversation. Call us up on 0700 951 0000, or you can call 0809 5974 869. All right, I think I have a caller. Hello? Hello? Okay, it's ringing. Am I doing it wrong? So go ahead. Can barely hear you. Yes, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Kim. Good morning. Good afternoon.
It's afternoon in Nigeria.
Yeah. My name is Kobe. I like this topic because it's an area that I worked while I was around. It's a very dicey area. And like highlighted, there are some those before you enter a community, those things are very critical. We that experience these things firsthand, especially through those gatekeepers and those respected figures. So, however, on the question you just asked, safe abortion and care, I think there is something called PAC, post-abortion care, right?
Yeah.
This is when you help people who have already gone to go and do something that they shouldn't have done, and instead of losing life, your call is to preserve life and to help the victims to sustain, not to die or something, avoid further complications. What I am against is the infiltration, because if you see how sometimes how some of these Western things come into Africa, it is gradual infiltration. If we have said abortion is illegal in Nigeria, just like so many other things we've called illegal that they are trying to infiltrate, you have to stick to it. Yes, you have the choice. Stick to contraceptive use. However, if somebody has made, there's already a victim of abortion, complications, then you can do back. But if you say abortion, safe abortion campaign or choices or all those kind of things, you need to be very, there's a need to be very careful that pre-abortion contemplations is not legal. It is not our culture. It is not a standard in Africa.
All right, Kobe.
So then when you talk of post, then that one is different.
All right, thank you.
There has gotten an accident, you have to help the person, right? So this is where I think the safe thing is. Yeah, this is where I think we draw the line. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Kobe calls us from Canada.
Okay. Kobe,
Yeah.
thank you very much for that. And I am actually glad that you have quite the experience. However, I don't know if you are aware that at the moment Nigeria ranks number 4 for the most maternal mortality ratio. That according to the World Bank, we rank 4th highest. That's quite a number. It means it's as if for roughly about 20,000 women lose their life to one complication before, during pregnancy, and things that have to do with pregnancy. And are you also aware that one of the major contributing factor, not major per se, but one of the most contributing factors to this statistics, that's an eyesore by the way, is things that have to that circle around SRH, sexual reproductive health and rights, inclusive on safe abortion. Now, I get that Nigeria has not legalized abortion. Not like it's not legalized completely. Abortion is legal under certain circumstances. But some of these circumstances are, let's not go into that. However, it is important to note that the cases we have of children dropping out, young girls dropping out of school, the cases that we have of young girls losing their life, trust me, because we don't really have a system that keeps together data, a lot of young girls lose their life to unsafe abortion. So now, I don't even want to say we are caught between two evils, because honestly we are not. Sex isn't something that people have on the street, it's something that people actually have in the privacy of their homes. Now, oftentimes what we normally see is the aftermath. For example, she takes in, but a lot of young people are actually having sex, whether we like it or not. And as beautiful as we love to encourage contraception, we should also know that they are not always 100%. And leave consensual sex alone. Sometimes people get raped. So if we don't legalize abortion and a girl is raped, she does not go freely to the hospital to say, I went to get an abortion because I was raped. Oftentimes they end up doing it with quacks. And that's when you have complication cases, you have people losing their lives. Do we want to continue to actually watch our young girls die? Because we cannot legalize. If we come into talks like legalizing abortion, safe abortion, by the way, very safe ones, well, trust me when I tell you that is when people will even freely want to talk about contraception. Because by the time you don't make this topic look like, what's the word I'm looking for? There are taboos. There are things that we shouldn't talk about. There are things that we should be ashamed of. Trust me, you open a can of worms that we're willing to free the entire can and just dust it and put fresh whatever that we want to put inside them. So by the time you start talking about legalizing things like safe abortion, you're going to have people come and talk about contraception. That's when you're going to freely encourage people to say, oh, we know abortion is... Trust me, even if we legalize abortion, that does not mean I want to wake up tomorrow and get pregnant carelessly. Yeah. That does not mean I want to wake up tomorrow and say, oh, today I just feel like having an abortion, so let me go and get pregnant. It means it is always a last resort. But when it is a last resort, we want to make sure that you're doing it the proper way, because first and foremost, what is most important is preserving your life. It's making sure that Nigeria no longer ranks number 4 when it comes to maternal mortality ratio. So please, it's always important that we do not allow things like culture. I don't think there's anybody that's trying to infiltrate anything.
Somebody else agreed to be like, oh, is it because Canada passed it into law? Is it Canada? Okay, France that we're bringing it up. But this conversation has always been
just like I said, culture is it has always been a barrier for us. We have always noted that. We have always known that culture, as much as it is peer pressure from dead people, it's kind of holding us to ransom to some degree. And we first and foremost need to leave the cultural side of it. You as a person, sit down and really ask yourself, tomorrow, God forbid, my sister gets raped and she gets in. What do I want? Do I want to say abortion is illegal, so she must have that child, regardless of she could have that child, and that child will always be a symbol of trauma? Do I want that? Or no, do I want her to get a safe abortion without the fear of, oh, I have taken her to a back door, and probably the person is going to cause her complications, she might lose her womb, her uterus might get damaged, she might even lose her life. Do I want that? Now, leave culture aside, you as a person, do you want that? Or no, do you want young girls to keep dropping out of school? Currently, we have over 20 million out of school children. Let's not go into the statistics of breaking that down to who contributes what coal tax it is. But trust me, especially up north, we have severe cases of and young girls dropping out of school because they took in. They did not get pregnant they did not drink the pregnancy from water, which means they are actively having sex, whether we want to take it or we don't. So please, let's not shy away and want to pretend that as far as I do not catch them having sex, they are not having sex. Trust me, they are having sex, and they are having unsafe abortions.
I bet your parents don't want to hear that.
I don't
They are
know.
not trusting. They're like, no, we do not trust you on this. It's not happening. But it is a fact, based on your
It is
research
what
and
it
work,
is.
that
It
is
is.
happening.
It is.
Mercy for Marabasi, to me, I think it's better to go for family planning so as to avoid, last resort abortion at the end of the day. There's just so much that requires advocacy, because what you're talking about will require us amending certain laws, because by Nigeria, like you spelled out, it's illegal,
Yeah, it is.
except in certain circumstances,
Which are stringent.
they're very stringent
Yeah.
one. So it means we need to rethink this. We need to adjust. Look at current reality. I know one country like France has decided to constitutionally provide, woman her right to her body. In the US, it's still very controversial, state by state debate as to right now, even to do IVF, they start to debate it from when the fertilization takes place. Life has been formed, so you can. So it's a global, intense debate, and I think every country changes according to the exigencies.
Sorry, let
and
me even
importance
add
of
one
it.
thing. So unfortunately, oftentimes the persons that are standing over and deciding over whether women should have abortions or not don't even have uteruses.
Half the time, yeah.
Yeah, you have it. So which means they don't even know but they don't even know the story. They have not lived it. But hey, it's okay. We wear the suit and tie.
And half the time you read the legislation. So, all right. So we're fast losing time. The news has come in a few minutes. But any final thought as we wrap up? I think we need to revisit this conversation.
We
again.
have to.
I agree with you. Longer time this time around. Effa, thank you.
So I would like to wrap up by saying that we are women, it's our body, it's our choice. We are the ones that are supposed to make the choice about our bodies. No one should actually make that choice for us. Nobody.
I just want to say it doesn't have to make sense to anybody if it makes sense to you.
All right then. And I see someone trying to call. Let's just say if it's going to be 30 seconds, we still have like some time. So let's get this caller. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
Good afternoon.
Go ahead. Good afternoon. What's your name?
Okay, my name is Amaka from London.
Go ahead, Amaka.
I just got into the discussion and about the what's it called, abortion, making it legally. Sometimes, I disagree with that. Why? The reason because of the teenage girls coming up. If you talk to them about it, yeah, we all know that they are actually involved in active sex. Some of them, not all. And if you talk to them about it, I think they will actually use it, and they will just abuse it. So the best thing is to go talk to them about safe sex. Number one, don't even talk to them. You talk to them about sex, but you talk to them not to indulge in it. And then you talk to them how their future will be affected if they actually indulge in it. A teenager cannot just get pregnant and you're thinking of how she's going to abort the child. I don't support that. She's going to carry the pregnancy. My cousin did that. She was 16, and we allowed her to carry the pregnancy. She gets birth. She saw how painful labor was, and she carried the pregnancy. So if you talk to her about anything boyfriend, she doesn't want to hear that. She has a baby girl now whom she's actually taking care of. So it's good to talk to them about it and how to prevent it, and so that it won't jeopardize their future.
All right, thank you very much for Amaka. I see a lot of people trying to call, but we need to wrap up now. And sadly, our time is up. We need to run for the news. But like I mentioned, we'll revisit this. There'll be a part two to the conversation and look at all the interesting arguments around this. I want to say a very big thank you to Amina Bint Mohammed. Thank you very much for the
Thank you for having
you're doing. Effa, thank you very much. I appreciate you and what the medical space is doing around this also. And a big thank you to Education as Vaccine.
Free to choose.
Yeah?
Free to choose.
Free
To choose.
to choose. Free to choose. Thank you very much.
Nigeria Info.